Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief Headlines Edition, all the AI Daily news you need in around 5 minutes. Today we kick off with the new application that was absolutely dominating the conversation on Twitter/X at the end of last week and over the weekend. And that was, of course, the launch of Kling, a video generation app out of China that many were calling a Sora killer. There were about 10,000 threads like this one from Proper, featuring the best creations that they had found, and a lot of them are really very impressive. There are a variety of styles. There's a lot of action and motion in these videos. They have a lot of that hyper-realism that impressed people about Sora when it was first debuted back in February. There are natural landscape videos that really look like a video was taken, and even the more imaginative things like this flaming horse here seem real, for lack of a better word. People engaged in motion are also rendered incredibly well. Overall, it's very impressive, especially considering where we were just a year ago with Will Smith eating noodles. Decrypt writes, Sora who? Kling is the new AI video generator everyone is talking about. Hailing from China, they write, the Kling AI video model is a potential game changer, blasting past mainstays like Pika or Runway ML. Decrypt writes that Kling was developed by Kuaishou, a Chinese tech giant that competes with TikTok, that it can generate videos of up to 2 minutes long at 1080p resolution and 30 frames per second, and importantly that it seems to avoid common pitfalls like adding extra limbs to humans. They write, like Sora, Kling has a better understanding of real-world physics, allowing for more accurate simulation of physical interactions between objects. It's also designed to accurately follow prompts and create sequences of shots with multiple views, allowing for more complex and dynamic videos. Now, a lot of the Twitterati jumped in to call this a Sora killer, and while people pointed out that that was mostly hyperbole, the reality is that Sora isn't released yet. As amazing as the model seems, so far, it's only been select Hollywood partners that have been able to actually get access to it. We're not exactly sure how much this is a business model question because of the high cost of generating these types of videos versus a strategic question of trying to deal with the concerns of Hollywood by cutting them in on the early stages of the technology. But in either case, it's not surprising that people are jumping to the conclusion that the thing that exists is better than the thing that they don't have access to. So until Sora is actually available to users, you're going to see more of this sort of rhetoric. There are also some really interesting geopolitical implications around what this says about China and how close it is to US state-of-the-art when it comes to AI, but that we will save for a different show. Next up, from the somewhat unexpected files, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recently talked about AI on a podcast and was a bit more accelerationist than you might have thought. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I don't think there's much we're going to be able to do now to prevent what's going to happen down the line. I mean, obviously, we need to be setting up the right kinds of parameters and maximizing our chance that good and thoughtful people are engaged in creating with the right kinds of parameters around it. But there's no question that this technology is going to get more and more powerful. But the idea that we might end up with a sentient computer that will decide that the greatest threat to human beings, if that's our job, is to protect human beings, is other human beings, and suddenly makes drastic social change. Yeah, that is sort of dystopian science fiction. I think there are ways we need to be responsible about how we manage and how we build in those expectations from now. But I also think that AI for good is going to be one of the most powerful tools we have to counter the AI for bad that is going to be created by bad guys out there, and therefore easing off or saying, okay, well, let's slow this down because we don't understand all the consequences is probably not the right track, even though I can understand how appealing that would be to people. No, let's just figure it out and keep making sure that those of us who have what we consider to be positive values and thoughtful approaches that are benevolent or at least looking for positive outcomes are fully in the game with every new step of technology.
This definitely confirms to me that we are seeing a shift among a lot of Western elected officials when it comes to questions of AI safety. It follows from the recent roadmap that was released by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and other senators that really focused much more on questions of AI competitiveness than it did on questions of AI safety and AI risk. Speaking of governments and AI competitiveness, in another indication of how fast the Middle East and specifically Gulf states are moving when it comes to AI, Dubai has appointed 22 chief AI officers across various government entities. Basically, there is a new AI officer in every department of government that is charged with figuring out how to bring AI into that particular area. Lastly today, some code sleuths are suggesting that X.AI, the makers of Grok, might be working on image generation. So maybe we will see the ability to create images natively integrated into Twitter/X soon. That, however, is going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief Headlines edition. Next up, the main episode.